let's talk about Duncan, Idaho. If you don't know anything about Dune, that's fine, because I'm gonna explain the part that I care about, and that's Duncan, Idaho. It's really dark as shit. Probably. Is that a problem? I don't know. And there's lots of good videos that talk about Dune, but most of them only ever talk about the first book. And the first book is great. If it wasn't for how great the first book was, then I wouldn't have gotten into the series. But Dune really hits its stride when it becomes more weird. And it definitely becomes more weird as you go through the series. So let's talk about Duncan, Idaho, though. So in the first book, Duncan, Idaho is not really a big character. He's a much bigger character in the movie than in the most recent movie than he was in the book series. What we know about him from there is that he's Atreides, and he's basically like the everyman. He is a good guy. He's a weapons master. He fights good. Paul really looks up to him. We know that because not because of any interactions, but because but because of the lack of interaction. Paul is like, I want to hang out with Duncan, Idaho, and they're like, no, because he's like busy doing real shit. There's some. We learn he's a womanizer. He's good with the ladies. Women love him, and he has a temper, and he's prone to drinking. That's about everything. Oh wait, he's also very loyal to the Atreides, to the point where he fucking cars are loud. He's loyal to the Atreides to the point where he lays down his life to save Paul and Jessica, to let them escape. And then he's dead. The end. We've talked. No, just kidding. If that was how it ended, if that was the whole of Duncan, Idaho, there would not be that much to talk about, right? We could talk about how he's a good guy or whatever, but no, we're going further, because the Taloxu, the Taloxu are a subspecies of human who are basically Muslim and Islamic. We learn this later, but they have bioengineering technology such that they're able to take the cells of a dead body, a cadaver, and bring it back to life. So what they do is they bring Duncan, Idaho back to life. And the technology at this stage of the series is not good. Well, I mean, it's good enough that they're able to bring back the body back to life. And they end up with something that looks and feels like Duncan, Idaho, but doesn't have the substance of Duncan, Idaho, really. And the end of Messiah ends with him restoring his memories. So he was this new incarnation was called Hate, Hayt, I think, and he was trained as a mentat. So once he recovers his memories, he has all of the training of a mentat, a Zensuni mentat, technically. He has all the training of the mentat and all of his weapons training, and he has all of his memories from both lives. Pretty cool. And so then he marries Aaliyah, which is Paul from the first book's sister, and lots of shit happens. He ends up betraying her because she's possessed by the devil, and so we see again his incredible loyalty to the Atreides, and that was what allowed him to restore his memories, is because he was ordered by the Tleilaxu to kill Paul, and he couldn't go through with it because the inner memories of his body awoke his conscious mind to his past. Next was so he ends up dying, lives his life or whatever, and ends up dying. But in the meantime, Paul's son, Leto II, he becomes a worm and a god, and becomes the god emperor of the universe. And because of this, he lives a really long time. I think it was like 3,000 years, something to that effect. Can't remember exactly. Doesn't really matter. A long fucking time. And the whole time that he was alive, he always had a Duncan Idaho. Because of the Tleilaxu experiments, they were able to refine their technology to the point where they don't have to, their product doesn't ship needing to be like reinstalled with the operating system of Duncan Idaho. It comes pre-installed. So they always have one in the oven because you want to keep the God Emperor happy. And anytime an accident happens or Duncan Idaho ends up dying, they just replace him with a new one. kind of grim, kind of dark. But it's what happens. So in the book God Emperor of Dune, it's about the end of the reign of Duke Leto II, God Emperor of the known universe. And the previous incarnation of Duncan Idaho tried to assassinate Leto because he was like, "You're not a god, you're just a man who's turned into a monster, and you're worse than the devil himself, and I'm gonna kill you." But he wasn't able to do it. Yeah, the weapon he used was sabotaged or whatever, and he ended up dying. So the new Duncan Idaho comes on, and within a couple of weeks' time, he's already like, actually, this entire society is fucked. Like, everything about it is totally fucked, and the God Emperor Leto is bullshit and totally a piece of shit and evil. So he begins immediately to work with the rebellion, and the rebellion is like the great times a million grand niece of Leto II. It's like his sister's great granddaughter or whatever, and she sees the golden path that Leto saw. She sees the same things about the future that he saw, and works to betray him anyway because she sees that it's the right thing to do or whatever, and that she has the ability to do it. I talked about Leto's anime waifu, Hui Nori. Leto is like totally enamored with her because anime waifu. But of course Duncan Idaho is too, because he's a man who loves women, and she's like the woman, like the best woman ever, basically. And this love triangle just adds fuel to the fire, of course. And Weenori is a product of the Ixians. So Duncan Idaho is a product of the Talaxu, and Weenori is a product of the Ixians, and they basically kind of not really working together, but both of their efforts combine to allow for the circumstances, which was Leto's wedding to Weenori, in which the rebellion had a chance to kill him, because in this society, it's a foot-based society. So in order to have the wedding where he wanted to have it, now there's questions about whether or not he intended to be murdered on this trip or not. On the procession, there's like a place where they had to cross a bridge, and so they blow up the bridge while he's on it, and he falls into a river and drowns, essentially. And so then we have Duncan Idaho, who did all of this, and because Duncan Idaho is like the ever-present number 2 to the God Emperor, he has a certain status among the fish speakers, which are basically the all-woman standing army of Leto II. I know it's complicated, but we're trying to focus on just Duncan Idaho here. But it's important to know that all of the previous incarnations, well, not all of them, but many of the previous incarnations of Duncan Idaho, basically, got married to people within the fish speakers, and all of them kind of view themselves as the wives to Duncan Idaho in a way. So when Leto II is gone, Duncan Idaho is in control of the fish speakers and bangs all of them basically, and has a billion children. So now we get to the next book series, and there's another incarnation of Duncan Idaho, and it's been a while since there's been one, because with the Leto gone, there's not really a huge demand for that product. But the Bene Gesserit, which is if you don't know the Bene Gesserit are a group of women who view themselves as basically the mothers of humanity, and they guide the evolution of humans through breeding program. They want a Duncan Idaho for their own purposes, because they see the universe and they see the situation that it is, and they're afraid of things that are coming back. So after Leto died, the spice monopoly, the spice must flow, whatever, it's totally broken, right? Leto was the only source of the spice during this period of time when he was emperor, and so it's gone. And because it's gone, everything just fucking disperses. People are no longer under like total control, and they're able to do whatever the fuck they want, and so they disperse out into the universe, and a lot of them are just gone forever and never heard from again. But some of them, after about 5,000 years or so, start coming back. And when they start coming back, they have all kinds of weird shit going on, right? Like you think about a bunch of furries going off and creating their own society, and then they come back with actual cat girls who have like psionic abilities and shit. And some of the Bene Gesserit who went out come back as like literally like mantis women with like insect abilities and quick reflexes that are incredible. And so the Bene Gesserit are like totally afraid of this, because they have no idea what's possible, and they feel like having a Duncan Idaho might help things. And this Duncan Idaho is special because unlike the previous Duncan Idahos, he has the cells from many incarnations of previous Duncan Idahos. He doesn't have their memories, and in fact, for the most of Heretics, which is the book after God Emperor, he doesn't even have his memories from his previous life, but he soon gets the memories from his original life. And later, he gets memories from more lives. He eventually gets the memories from all of his previous lives. There's also some other changes, like his reflexes and such are all improved, because during the course of the however many years, like 8,000 years or whatever, from the time that he was originally born to the present, he became quickly outdated, right? During God Emperor, the Duncan Idaho who was there was considered like genetically inferior stock because his reflexes were kind of garbage, even though he was, during his time, just amazing. After so many years of Leto II culling humanity, he's just nowhere near up to snuff. But this Duncan Idaho is, because they introduced some genetic modifications to his body in order to keep him, like, make him on par, basically. And so this Duncan Idaho has eventually gets all of the memories from all of his lives. You could imagine this being a clusterfuck nightmare. Well, remembering all the times you died. He's able to recount that, and it's much to the interest of the Bene Gesserit, who have memories of all of their past lives as well. Well, not their past lives, but their ancestors, their female ancestors' past lives. So Duncan Idaho is kind of like a strange Kwisatz Haderach. A Kwisatz Haderach is from the original book series. From the original book, it has the memories of both sides. So Paul had all of his father's ancestors' memories and all of his mother's ancestors' memories, ostensibly. Leto II was the same, and so Duncan Idaho is this kind of strange version of that, where he doesn't have memories of his ancestors, but he has all of his memories from all of his previous lives. Now, why is this important? Well, it turns out that one of the things that Leto saw on the horizon was something called the Krylazak, the whirlwind struggle at the end of the universe. And Krylazak basically was this we don't really learn what it really is intended to be, but it's supposed to be this big, apocalypse kind of situation. And I don't know how canon the seventh book, part 1 and part 2, are to the original intentions, but we're gonna pretend that the main gist of it is, because as at least as regarded to Duncan Idaho, and the reason I think this is because of an interview that was held and decisions that were made. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. The point is, Krylazak in this interpretation is the return of the machine empire. So a long time ago in Dune, before Dune, humans used to have technology like thinking machines. They had like AI, artificial intelligence shit, and so eventually it got to the point where humans realized that this is a bad thing, and they destroyed all of that technology and vowed never to do it again. But it turns out it's hard to stomp out something like that, and also I think this is more likely the case. It's rediscoverable. My interpretation is probably that the Ixians accidentally whoopsied the machine empire back into existence, but that's very not canon. The canon, the at least extended universe canon, says that the seed of the Machine Empire god was like sent out into space and found itself able to restore itself in some machine, some satellite far away, and it built a new empire. And there's two machines that survived. One of them is Omnius, and the other is the one who actually matters, but I can't remember his name. And Omnius dies. Who cares? But in this event where the Machine Empire faces humanity again, you would think that it would be like a Kwisatz Haderach, like a restored Paul Atreides, who would be the savior of humanity in this case, but it's not. Paul is just like a pawn. He's brought back, by the way. Paul is brought back after 8 books, he's just like a pawn. Like they do a test, like, is it going to be the evil Paul who was raised by the devil, or is it going to be the good Paul who was raised by Duncan Idaho? But the thing that enamored, it was something like that. That's who it is. I can't remember exactly. He's a machine, and he's enamored with this Duncan Idaho, who is almost like an equal to him, because he has all of these memories, and he's able to then merge with technology and become even more than a man. So that's the cliff notes. That's the cliff notes of the story, at least. So why is this interesting? It'd probably be more interesting if you read the damn books, but I know no one's going to. So if you're already the kind of person who would read 7 books in this weird sci-fi series, the ones that get weirder and weirder as it goes along, then you probably already have. But if you haven't, and this has sold you on it, just go read the books and then form your own opinions. But it's interesting to me because you have this Everyman character who is like the ideal man. He becomes like the ideal man over the course of these books, and he becomes more and more himself. And he does it by becoming like all of his past incarnations. He's reviewing all of his past lives, and he's lived a lot of lives, and he's able to see himself perfectly through that. And in each of his lives, he learned new things, and he was able to bring all of those memories and information back with himself. And only such a person who like is himself. He is Duncan Idaho. He doesn't have any question about it, because he knows who he is and what he does, what he would do in all of these circumstances. Only that kind of a person is able to be like a proper bridegroom or something to technology, to the machine god, you could say. And so it's very interesting. I really like the story of Duncan Idaho, to the point where when I was having my very first incredibly insane psychotic break, I was like, oh, I am Duncan Idaho. I am just an incarnation of Duncan Idaho. I don't really think that anymore, but maybe I have some of his memories. I mean, actually, I definitely do have some of his memories, but I can only remember them them as abstract works of fiction, which I've read on paper and listened to through audio. That's how far removed the memories are. And the cyber kind of, what is it called? It's merging with technology. What is it called? Oh man, wow, my brain is kind of fried right now. I've been up for too long and kind of too manic. What is it called when humans transcend themselves? Transhumanist merging with technology vibes are really cool. They go and populate other worlds with the sandworms, so that the spice will be proliferated throughout the universe. And they go around basically as saviors to humanity, the Masterus and Duncan Idaho, as kind of like gay lovers, essentially, because they're both kind of male. Duncan Idaho is as male as they come. I guess a Masterus is a robot, so whatever, but he has a male persona, at least. I guess he also has female personas too, so who knows. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool stuff. Go read Dune.